I saw Xaryu made an interesting thing with his stream. He made a poll. He said, huge thanks to everybody who joined today's stream and voted in the community polls. I understand my community isn't the entire Classic player base, but I think this was a great way to spark the conversation and get ideas following what Classic Plus could be. Poll results down below. So basically he did a stream where he brainstormed a bunch of Classic Plus ideas and what his chat obviously would think about that. I don't know how many people he had watching. I think there was like 5, 6, 7,000 people in his chat voting and being a part of it. So
there was like 5,000 or 6,000 live viewers, maybe peaking higher than that, but realistically most of the polls had about 500 to 1,000 voters, which is like about what you would expect. Like most people are lurking and not actually like participating. So each poll only had about 1,000 votes or less. Some maybe some of them had a bit more, but yeah, like I would guess like in that 500 to 1,000 mark. So yeah, it's definitely not like a conclusive like this is the way. It was more just a, you know, a fun thing to have a conversation, right?
Honestly, I wanted to just go over this with y'all real fast just to see what people voted for like positively and what they voted for maybe not so positively here. But let's check it out real fast, guys. What is this? So Classic Plus features, approval rating there, and then like the things. Dual talents is 94% approved. Honestly, I kind of agree with this one. I feel like the dual talent.
Yo, Bodie, thanks so much for the prime. Swindle, thanks for the prime. Erez, thanks for the prime. Guys, we're on a level 4 hype train. Thank you very much. There we go, dude.
Would be pretty good in many ways, right? Doing Blizzard's job for them, I mean, essentially, right? More than 2 professions, no. Okay, I can see that. I can see that, not wanting to have that, right? World buff changes. A lot of people want world buff changes. Interesting. Remove world buffs from raids. A lot of people want that as well from his stream as well. I think when it comes to Classic WoW, like world buffs are such a big part of the game in like positively, in a positive.
Man, I almost just want to watch this whole thing, but I feel like I'm not going to. I would be curious to see which points Guzu disagreed on and get his input, because Guzu has such good input with these kind of things, right? I don't know if there was like anybody watching, like I don't know what he disagreed on. Yeah, do a call with him, maybe more efficient. Play it on 1.5. Do you guys do that? I feel like I never do that because I feel like it makes the video sound weird. Here, let me try this. Custom 1.5.
Way, but also in a negative way. I feel like the way that they had it with the chrono boons was a good idea, but maybe there would be another way of really attaining it, or maybe just changing it completely, right, if that was the case. Dual talents is a huge quality of life still in spirit of classic IMO. I agree. I definitely agree. Rework over remove.
Bro, my brain is like, whoa, holy crap. Do you guys ever do this? What the heck? He sounds like you now? Is that how I sound? Goodness gracious. Yeah, 1.3 or 1.4. 1.1 would be better. Man, yeah, 1.5. I mean, that's like...
So like rather rework them than remove them. I guess it's kind of like a 50-50 with that. Flying mounts, people do not want that. I agree. I think flying mounts, when it came out in TVC, was the greatest thing to happen to the game, but also the worst thing to happen to the game, right? Because it just makes the world feel so much smaller. Transmog, people do not want that. And I agree with that, not in a classic setting. Rated Battlegrounds, a ton of people would want this. I honestly think Battleground is such a big part of the content in vanilla or like in classic, and if there were to be some sort of a rating system for it, that could be kind of sick. 1v1 arenas, 2v2 arenas, and 3v3 arenas. People really want this, at least mostly. I'm actually surprised people would rather want 3v3. 1v1 would be kind of weird, I guess, but I guess it could make sense. It would be cool to have some sort of a way to do those things, but would arena make sense in vanilla? I'm worried if it would become like a rating thing, and then like it would slowly pivot towards becoming more like a little bit more retail based and like...
I agree with Guzu here. This was one of my pushback points with you guys, that rated battlegrounds make sense, but arenas are kind of troll. I actually agree with Guzu here, even as like an arena guy. Like that was kind of my point as well. It just kind of deteriorates the function of the game. My idea was the Gurubashi arena style dueling pit that you could do wager duels and like get the community out in the world. I think that's such a better idea than arenas. I really do. I really do. I really do.
Classic, I'm not sure. I'm a big fan of like battlegrounds and stuff in Classic, but arenas, I'm not sure. I don't know how much interested I would be in that personally, right? But optimized flight paths, people, dude, what is this? Optimized flight, what is this? I almost said easy scape. What the heck, dude? Listen, what is optimized flight paths? So Let me just find an example here if I can. Like this, right? Like the flight paths just being incredibly scuffed in Classic WoW. Honestly, I don't mind these flight paths. Listen, bro, when you take a long flight path, okay, and you go on it, bro, you can just go, like, get a cup of water or go to the bathroom or get some snackies or maybe go pet your dog. It gives you a little excuse to just go.
Fair enough. The chat was being really annoying yesterday when we were talking about French toast. So I just put you guys on a 15-minute flight path and went AFK. And it's like, if I didn't have these 15-minute flight paths to just like punish Twitch chat whenever things are happening, then like, yeah, I don't know, you know, like it's just kind of nice. You know, it's like I could literally just AFK for 15 to 20, 30 minutes and like we're chilling.
Vibe out a little bit and do some other stuff. It doesn't have to be Zoom and speedrun and everything like that. I think like I don't mind the long flight paths. They're not the greatest thing, but I feel like they're a part of it, man. Like it is what it is. For me,
for clarification, the optimized flight path point, I think it wouldn't go from like a 20-minute flight path to a 2-minute flight path. It would go from like a 20-minute flight path to like a, I don't know, 16 or 14. And I'm talking like this longest one here that's a 20-minute and 1 second where you go like up like this, here, and then here. If you went like here, instead of 20, it would probably still be like, yeah, 14. It's not like you're not AFKing anymore. It's like you're just AFKing slightly less, right? Just to be fair.
At least. Okay, so additional flight paths. I'm surprised that a lot of people want, and this is by the way in Xaryu's chat, okay? Just letting you guys know. And obviously Xaryu's chat are probably gonna be more inclined to what Xaryu agrees with because that's just kind of how it works with streams. But it's still interesting to take a look at though.
So for the poll, so I do agree with that, but for the polls, I did the polls before giving my opinion. And there was a lot of things in here that I disagreed with you guys on, or actually I shouldn't say a lot. There was like a couple big points that I disagreed with you guys on. I think the arena point was one of them. Crap, I can't remember right now. The biggest one I disagreed with you guys on was removing combat add-ons. I heavily disagree there. There was, I think like two, anyway, what I'm trying to say is like there were points that I disagreed on. Like, so these aren't my opinions. This was more like the chat opinions, which were similar to mine, but not one-to-one.
It says scuff flight paths also makes you include other transportation methods like the zeppelins and the mage ports. I agree. I feel like the flight paths being a little bit long and not so efficient always is kind of good because it makes you like, you know, go out and take a zeppelin or like take a boat or like just explore the world, I think, right? But yeah, additional flight paths. Less people want that. I'm surprised that they want optimized flight paths, but they don't want additional ones.
That makes sense though, right?
Vegan says, isn't more just a reflection of Xaryu's own views? Let's be real, many viewers typically just agree with whatever the streamer says. For the most part, yes, but I still think it's interesting to take a look at, and I can share a little bit of my thoughts on it, and then you guys can share what you guys think about these things, and we can get a conversation going, because obviously this is more like a reflection with like what Xaryu thinks and what his community thinks, but it could still spark in conversation, and I feel like conversations are good to have in a thing like this, because that'll lead hopefully to a better product, if they ever do a Classic Plus, right? Summoning stones. I don't think we need summoning stones. Let the warlocks farm their soul shards and let them have a use case, okay? Meeting stones are fine. Summoning stones, I don't think we need it personally, but that's just me. Chris, thank you for the 4 months, dude. Lower mana cost buffs. A lot of people want this. Longer buffs, a lot of people want this as well. And guild bank, a lot of people want these too.
Yeah, I like all those, I think.
I don't really mind, honestly, the buffs being a little bit short, and I don't personally mind it. I am the danger. Yo, Papa Push.
Bro, have you played a paladin, Guzu? Oh my gosh. Like mage, it's fine. Like there's certain classes where it's fine, but like paladin is like would be the one that would like really need it.
Thank you for the 5 months, dude. I appreciate that. Did you quit RuneScape to play Endless Talking Simulator? Yeah, I quit it forever, man. I'm sorry, Wotus. Because you don't play a class that buffs. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Pala buffs should be longer. I guess they're 15 minutes. I mean, you could make them long.
No, they're 5, bro. They're 5. The AoE ones are 15. I think the normal Pally buff should be 30, and then the AoE one should be like an hour or something. Or you could maybe argue 30 and 45, but like, yeah.
Yeah. I get having to debuff, like having to rebuff could be really annoying, and like stuff like that, that's fair. I can see that.
Yeah.
Guild bank being added, I think a guild bank could be nice, honestly. They're 5 minutes. Aren't they 15 minutes whenever you get the increased, like the big buff version, or am I crazy for thinking this? No, they're 5 minutes standard, and then the greater is 15 minutes. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs, by the way, Papa Potion. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have an issue with this, personally. I wouldn't have an issue.
Yo, Twin Dad PvP, thank you very much for the $5 dono. It's a GoFundMe link. Oh, guys, this kills me when this happens. This happened yesterday. It happened. It's, you know, I don't know how to say this other than this. There are really tragic, unfortunate things that happen, and I'm sending you some love. I'm assuming, you know, that's legit. Here's the problem. If I start linking this GoFundMe and start sharing this and start sharing the GoFundMe from yesterday, and then it happens to be a scam, not saying you're scamming, but I'm saying if it happens to be a scam, that's really, really bad, because now I'm spreading a scam in my chat. So I can't do that. Now, the way I could do it is if I looked into each one, but like, yeah, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry what happened, though. That sounds terrible. Sounds terrible. And once again, with the person that, same thing yesterday, I feel terrible saying that, but it's like, I just can't, I can't share a link that could be a scam.
With that, like, if they were to improve it, but yeah, it's not a huge deal to me, but I see why people wouldn't want it. Why aren't you crapping? Because I'm just talking a little bit with chat. Papa Potion, thank you for the sub as well. Dungeon Finder, people do not want this. Honestly, to add a little bit to the Dungeon Finder stuff, let me go here while I talk about these. To add a little bit to the Dungeon Finder stuff, I feel like it would be nice to have some sort of a option to search for people, but not a option to queue up with people. Because people used a freaking add-on for that anyway to try to find groups, because using the general chat in World of Warcraft freaking sucks. So an option to find groups would be great, but not to queue, right? Like they added in the anniversary, it works super well, and that's just how it should be, right? Minor class changes balancing, a lot of people want this. Better quest rewards makes sense, a lot of people want this. Better quest rewards. Obviously, he probably talked a little bit more about this whenever he was actually doing the conversations and stuff like that, but better quest rewards?
Like, just like the super long quests where when you finish them, you went around like the whole world twice, and you know, you're killing elite mobs and you get like a green item that like is basically unusable. I think some of these super long epic quest journeys should reward something that makes sense to where it's like, nice, I'm really excited. That's actually like one of my maybe larger complaints about like the classic quest system. Like there are a good amount of quests where it just feels like you finish the whole thing and you get a vendor item, you know? But it shouldn't be overdone, right? Like I don't think just giving like blues for killing 12 wolves is like would be a good idea, right?
I don't know. I don't really see like a big thing with this. Like, oh, what better quest rewards? I feel like the more meaningful quest rewards. I mean, I've leveled quite a lot in Classic WoW, and I feel like the quest rewards are quite fine for what they are. There's a lot of quite good quest rewards, but there's also a lot of bad ones. But that's okay, right?
That's fair.
More like probably when you get an item that you can't equip. I mean, I think that's fine. It shouldn't everything shouldn't be like an upgrade, right? I think that's okay personally, but
I do agree with Guzu on that point. Like, not everything should be an
honestly,
upgrade.
I don't really agree too much with that, but yeah, okay. New raids. This I very heavily agree with, right? Poll-based system added to vote, like old school RuneScape, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yes, I think a poll-based system could be great, but obviously with a bit of a grain of salt. I don't know if it will be able to work in the same way that old school RuneScape does it, but I think this could definitely be a good thing to like involve the community more in what's happening and be a little bit more transparent with what's going on. I think a lot of people will really love that. Chester, by the way, thank you for the sub. People are generally okay. New raids. New classes, people don't want that. I don't see a big reason to add new classes, at least to begin with. You got a 9kc Shadow on my Ultimate Iron Man. Congrats, dude. That's freaking awesome, man. That's huge. Congratulations, Amazon the Prime. I don't see like a big reason for that in the beginning, right? New races. Again, like at first, I see no reason for that. Like, no. New race class combos. A lot of people would like to see that. I feel like this could be good if it makes sense. Like, I would like to see maybe a human hunter or an undead hunter or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I personally would not like to see shamans on both sides and paladins on both sides, because I really like that. That's
another question down here. So I'm curious what he says there at 69%. Nice. Dude, I kind of like Alliance Shamans and Horde Pallies as a feature in Classic Plus, but it's definitely not the super majority, right? Like my chat said 69%, like 69% of my chat wanted that. Guzu's kind of against it. I don't know. Like there is a really good argument to be made here. There is something cool about like, I'm Horde and we have shamans and you guys don't. You know, like there is something cool about that, I must admit.
Horde and Alliance has different styles. I honestly, I love the different factions being different. Personally, some people don't like it because then we can't do everything with our friends and stuff like that. But I feel like it's so cool that they're unique, and there's like Horde has their totems and Wind Fury and Alliance have their blessings and stuff. I think that's sick, right? I think that's really cool. Remove racial traits. I agree. We shouldn't do this. Yeah, racial traits are cool. Same thing as I just said, right? Modernize diminishing returns, TBC. Okay, so like higher DRs basically. So that if you don't know what diminishing returns is, it's essentially like you sheep someone, and the next time you sheep someone, the first sheep will last 40 seconds, next sheep will last 30, then 20, and then it'll basically be immune for a few seconds. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, this is actually a tough one. Like if I'm in Guzu's spot and I have no context here, like I would probably say I would be against this, but this is a tough one. What I said on my stream was modernizing DRs really only works if you want to add arenas. If you don't add arenas, then you don't really need to do this. Like these two kind of pair very well. Like out in the world, I would say modernizing DRs is not necessary, but in arenas, I would say it is necessary. My overall take is don't add arenas and don't modernize DRs. Add things that are true to classic, like the Gurubashi fight pit or like, wager duel, stuff like that. That's what I would like. But it seemed like a lot of my chat wanted arenas and modern DRs, which is maybe something that I would push back on a little bit, like I did on my stream and like I'm doing now. I don't know if that's the greatest idea, but a lot of people wanted it, so.
Shit, I'm like an old school classic WoW Andy. I don't mind the super long CCs in classic. I feel like it's such like a core part of what is classic WoW.
I agree with that.
I feel like if you're starting to change this, then you're changing a lot of the core fundamentals of what the game is.
I agree.
But I can also see why you wouldn't want this, right? I can also see why you wouldn't enjoy that. I don't know why the command is it not working? How's Warhammer going? Pretty good, dude. Guys, I know I'm yapping a lot. I just really wanted to like talk about this with you guys a little bit. You guys have other things you want to talk about too, but yeah. Give an option in arena. I don't know, because then you have like two different ways of playing your character. Then you have like...
I agree with Guzu here again. Like, so that's a common thing. Like, oh, well, just do the DR shorter in arena. But then it's like, well, in arena, then your character fundamentally feels different than the rest of the world. And I don't like that divide. I don't like that split, like, at all. It just feels weird. Retail tried it, and I didn't like it there either.
Your normal character outside in the world, and you have your arena character, right? I don't know, I could see why people like this, but I could also see like that. Your viewer base is now 95% old school RuneScape. I don't think it is, but there's probably a lot of people watching for RuneScape. Also, a lot of people wanting to watch for other stuff, but I want to talk about the things I want to talk about, you know?
Dude, it is so... Dude, like I said this at the start of the video, it is so tough trying to be a variety MMO streamer. Like, that's basically what I'm doing. That's what Guzu's doing, Savix, like a lot of my friends are in the same boat. And the problem is, whenever you jump to play a different game, like the chat just molds that you're playing a different game, right? Like you want to play, I was playing like WoW and RuneScape and a bunch of different games at the same time, and it's like, yeah, I'm glad it's not just me, right? Guzu's dealing with the same thing. All my friends are dealing with the same thing. It's like, okay, yeah, there we go.
Brandon, thank you for the
showback, yeah, same thing.
I understand what you're saying, but I agree. That's fair. Remove weapon skill. Yeah. I can see this not being a thing. Yeah, I mean, like, people not wanting it. Yeah, I agree. I think weapon skill fucking sucks, but it's a part of vanilla WoW again. I feel like if you start...
So Guzu is more of a fundamentalist, like I am, right? Like, he's just like, hey, look, let's not change much. Let's keep things pretty vanilla. And then, like, as time goes on, we could talk about these things, but, like, let's not go too far. Guzu and... I think that's pretty much exactly where my head's at. Like, I've agreed with almost everything so far. The only thing that Guzu said that I didn't agree with, I think, is the longer buff one. Like, I think longer buffs are just nice, but everything else, like, so far, yeah, it's been pretty spot on.
Moving all these things, it becomes such a different game, right? And then it's like, it's a very slippery slope. It's like, okay, now we have no DRs, now we have arena, now we have no weapon skill, now we have like both factions, and then it slowly becomes a very, very different game because it adds up a lot, right? But maybe I'm a little bit more of a purist in that way, I suppose. Shaman tank. This one is a bit interesting because shamans were supposed to be tanks in the early stages of vanilla WoW, but they changed that, right? I don't know if you should go that extreme with it personally. I feel like for me, Classic Plus would be minor changes to like some of the classes maybe, but don't make shaman tanks, don't make like mages, healers. I feel like that's too extreme for me personally.
I agree with no mage healers. I agree with no rogue tanks. I agree with like not like most things, but I think shaman tanks are something that actually wouldn't bother me for two reasons. one, we need more tanks in the game to help like dungeons fill up and stuff anyway, so it like kind of helps the flow of the game. And then two, shamans, like Guzu just said, shamans were like originally supposed to be tanks, or like there was like that kind of idea in the works with like earth shock building high amounts of threat, with shields, with stone skin, right? So it's like, is that the totem stone skin? Stone shield? One of those. Like the whole idea was supposed to already kind of be there. So it, like I think shaman tanks I would sign off on, but I wouldn't sign off on any of the others.
But I would like to see some minor tweaks here and there, but mainly focus on like new battleground content, new zones, new quests, new raids, new dungeons. I feel like if you just focus on those things, there's so much to it that's great.
That's fair.
Weapon skill doesn't really add anything to the game. As Mufford says in the chat, and I actually agree with Mufford, he says it adds an RPG element when leveling, and in endgame it changes how you gear up melee classes. I agree. I feel like
with that too.
If you take away all these RPG elements, it slowly starts becoming like a queuing simulator, where like...
I agree, man. So that's what I have against arenas. That's what I have against arenas in Classic Plus. It becomes a queuing simulator instead of having RPG elements. So that's why my idea, instead of arenas, is you get everyone out in the world around a fighting pit, and you have people that could wait in line to be the next two to fight, and then you could fight and duel and wager and have fun and talk and whatever, and not just like sit in the city and queue, right? Like I think is the more things that make you sit in a city and queue are the worst for Classic WoW or Classic Plus. That's why I completely agree there.
The journey doesn't really matter, and everything is kind of getting spoon-fed, and then it's like it's slowly becoming more of a modern MMO.
I agree.
And I think that's where it's a little bit of a slippery slope with Classic Plus, because maybe people want a lot of changes that are a little bit too good, if that makes sense. But I might be out of touch here. Maybe you guys have a different opinion, but yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
Here, definitely.
Pretty much Fellowship.
That's why I was frustrated watching his video, because you said a lot of the same things. Right. Well, I think what Guzu didn't understand is this was the chat's opinion, not mine, right? My opinions were similar on a lot of these, but my opinions were a little more fundamental, like Guzu's. Like, let's start a little smaller and then build from there. And yeah, so I agree. I agree with like pretty much everything Guzu said besides the longer buff one so far. Yo, Post with a prime, Vesmig with a prime, Klein with a prime. Thank you guys.
It's not an MMO. Fellowship is like a Mythic Plus game, basically. Horde, Pally Race, Shaman. Most people in Xaryu's chat seems to want this. I don't want this personally. Instant mail. Yes, I like instant mail personally, but maybe for guildies and your own account. I don't know. Barber, Cataversion, hair, and earring. Being able to change your hair, I think is fine, and your earring is fine, I think. Yeah, but don't be able to like swap between genders and shit. Mounts level 20? Hell no. Remove combat add-ons. Most people want that. New zones. A lot of people want that.
I wanted his opinion on the combat add-ons one, because that's the one I disagreed with the most with chat. He kind of glazed over that one. I'm really curious, because like I really don't think they should do that for Classic. I think it makes no sense and has no place, but like the majority wanted it.
Glad to see that his chat agrees with that, though. That's good. Flex rating. Flex rating basically means that you're able to... What is it called? Like raid from 15 to 40 people, and the raid will like scale depending on how many people you have. Honestly, I wouldn't be angry if they added this. I do feel like 40-man raiding is a bit crazy, but it's also a big part of what makes Vanilla WoW what it is, right? Where's this data from? It's from Xaryu's chat. He did like a poll with his stream. I wouldn't be completely opposed to flex rating, honestly. Like if it's like between 20 and 40, if the scaling was done well though, but yeah.
It would have to be done really well.
Heroic dungeons. A lot of people would like to see this. This would be interesting, I guess, like a harder version of the dungeons, but then it's like, okay, do we want new gear from these dungeons, or do we want like kind of cosmetics, and is it more like a challenge thing, right? Because if you start getting better gear from heroics, then we go into like the snowball effect of like suddenly we're in freaking cataclysm numbers, right? And that's very scary too. AoE
that's
looting. What? Let people loot one by one. Hell no.
That's exactly what Ampy said. No AoE looting. Yeah, bro. I mean, like, Guzu's a classic Andy, bro. What can I say? Like, I agree. Yo, Boring Mac, thanks for the prime, man. My sub's officially a newborn. 9 months. There we go, baby.
Dude, no, listen. Let people loot their freaking mobs one by one, dude. Okay? Ridiculous. Unbelievable. Remove logging capabilities. I don't know what that means, actually. Oh, like raid logging. So people can, like, log raids. Parsing. This will happen no matter what. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop that because it's like an external thing, right? People will do it regardless.
I mean, you could stop logging capabilities, couldn't you, if you're Blizzard? Say you got rid of combat add-ons and removed the ability to read. I mean, I think there would be a way, but I agree. Yeah. I never
Proximity voice chat. There's add-ons for that. I don't know if they need to add that to the game per se. What's up, Richie? Good to see you, man. This guy thinks every game-changing update for RuneScape is awesome and games needs more content no matter what, but when it's his own game, he only wants minor changes. Because it's different games, Hoodus. It's very different games, and I don't really like the way that WoW turned out personally. It's not really for me, so if they were to do like a special version of the old game, I would like it to stay true to what the old game was, and kind of work on that rather than building it into what it eventually became, because that's why we ended up wanting Classic in the beginning, right? So yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Fair. That's a fair opinion, yeah.
And I also think the way that RuneScape has done their content in OSRS, as Mordial says, has been also very true to what the game was.
Yeah.
You know, like it's essentially like you're asking me, like,
fair.
Should old school RuneScape add the evolution of combat? Should they add more prayers? Should they add no, of course not. They know this, right? But that's because old school RuneScape has done it over many years of learning what their players want. So nowadays, when they make content, people are kind of.
My point is very similar to this. What I've always said is I want classic, like I'm kind of half joking when I say this, but I'm actually kind of not. I want Classic Plus to drop and I want it to suck. Like I don't want the drop date to be the hypest moment. I want Classic Plus to drop and get better over the course of 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, right? Like I want Classic Plus to drop, and really I want that to be the worst moment of the history of Classic Plus. And then I want it to get better over time, just like RuneScape did, right? I want these changes over years as player feedback comes in, and it's like, okay, let's slowly start adding and make this thing sweeter and sweeter and better and better and better. And then 10 years down the road, you have this just like sick tribute to the game that we grew up playing. Like the sickest tribute of them all that took a decade to build. Not this, oh, let's drop this, take some crazy risks, have it hype for 1 month and have everyone quit because you went too far. Screw that, bro. I want Classic Plus to suck when it comes out. And then I want it 10 years down the road to be the sickest version of WoW we've ever played. That's what I want.
People, they know what their players want, right? They know what their players want. And that's good, I think. It's all community funded. They tried to add more players, and people didn't want it, right? More players nearly happened in old school RuneScape. Yeah, but people didn't want it, so they didn't come out. You know? And that's why maybe some of you guys, if you're RuneScape players, you don't really care about this conversation, but I love Classic WoW, and I think it's fun talking about this. OSRS game and art style lend themselves to an old school release. WoW's doesn't. I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what you mean with that comment, but yeah. Half of these prayers are new. Yes, a lot of these prayers that are in the game, you guys probably know this more than I do, they are probably new, but it's stuff that they have added throughout the game that stays true to what the old school game is, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, regardless, I'm talking about what I think could be great for it. You guys can obviously tell me what you guys think would be great or would be bad, and that's what a conversation is. And that's great, because that way we can learn.
Dude, I love Guzu. Bro, Guzu and I are so similar. He's defining what a conversation is, because the chat is just like, like whining. It's like, yeah, that's, I mean, bro, that's Guzu W, man. You just gotta just define what talking is. Like that, what else are you gonna do?
What most people want, because maybe what I want is not the popular thing, and I might be in the minority with all of my opinions, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
You know? Jay Tullo, thank you for the raid, by the way. We're talking a little bit about some WoW Classic stuff, and we're gonna log into RuneScape in a little bit. Hopefully had a good stream. Heroism Bloodlust, I don't think this should be added. No, I agree. Level cap increase, I don't think so either. Mythic Plus, no, I don't think so either. Additional BGs, make the Ashara BG. That's all I'm saying.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Mob quest scaling, no. Remove Heartbeat, no. Heartbeat is a very core fundamental of what Classic WoW PvP is, I think. If you don't know what heartbeating is, it's essentially where if I'm a rogue and I go up and I sap someone in PvP, there is a chance at every single tick that the sap will fall off. It will heartbeat. And it's a big like core fundamental mechanic in WoW PvP, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
You want to challenge in dungeons, keep it heroics, keep it simple? I agree.
A lot of pushback on the removing heartbeat point. A lot of people wanted it removed. When I was reading YouTube comments and like Twitter comments and stuff like that, I agree with Guzu. Heartbeat is actually like a pretty skilled mechanic, because you do have RNG for it to break, but you have to calculate there's like calculated risk, right? Like, okay, I can handle the heartbeat breaking right now, so like I'm just gonna risk it maybe breaking early, or I can't handle heartbeat breaking early, and because I don't want it to break early, I have to re-CC sooner, right? So heartbeat can't happen in the first half of the CC, only the second half of the CC. So if it's a 20-second poly, the first 10 should be good, but the second 10 can break. If it's a 10-second poly, the first 5 should be good, but the second 5 can break, right? So you can play around risk. Like you can have like this risk analysis, like, okay, I might try to push it here a little bit, but I might need to re-CC early because I know I can't have this one break, which ties back to the modernized DR. This wouldn't work with modernized DRs. Like these almost go hand in hand. Modernized DRs with removing heartbeat would kind of suck. So now that I think about it, these kind of go against each other. Like you either keep old DRs and heartbeat, or you go to the new DRs and remove it. But 81% of the chat wants modern DRs, but 17% of the chat wants to remove heartbeat. So we'd have to make our choice there. It would be one or the other. It would either be both or neither.
Shorter mount time? Nah, doesn't need that. Personal loot? No. Linkable professions? A lot of people would like that. I'm not sure if...
I think shorter mount time is actually one that I wouldn't mind. That like Guzu said no, and most of the chat said no, but like for me, I don't know. I wouldn't mind a 1.5 second mount, I don't think, honestly. You could argue it hurts world PvP a little bit because like it's a little easier to get away, like a second and a half easier to get away. But like, I don't know. I think that's the one that I actually might be like, I might be fine with that.
Fully what this means, actually. No mob scaling, that ruins everything. I agree. Linkable professions. WoW was great when it came out, but its reach is limited, and now it's gone. You realize that WoW is one of the most, I mean, probably the most played MMO right now, right?
Yeah.
Like saying otherwise is kind of cope. Whether you like WoW or not, it's up to you. But it is one of the most played MMOs in like that we have in the world. So I don't know what to tell you, bro. With all due respect, I don't think Xaryu and his community should be guiding Stone for Classic Plus. They're all retail players. I will say, and that's why I feel like I'm disagreeing with a lot of these things. But that's because I think a lot of these things are a very slippery slope towards becoming a modern MMO. And I don't think, personally,
I haven't played like a ton of retail in about 5 years on my stream. Obviously, I still do play retail here and there, but like it's been a minute since I've been like a retail streamer, right? Like I would say most of you guys are classic players. What is that right? I mean, obviously a lot of people play both, but I would say like the strong majority these days is classic. Like not, yeah. I could pull it, sure, but I kind of already influenced the chat by talking about it. So what do you play more? Because there's a lot of people that, you know, play both. Like for me, I play both, but I play more classic by a lot. And classic would include things like MOP, Annie, like private serve, like if you're playing Turtle, any of that, right? Classic or retail. All right, sure. Add both as an option? Nah, I want like one or the other, right? That kind of ruins the poll. Add both. I mean, adding a both option, I think, would ruin the poll, right? Because then the percentages would just get like massively skewed in one way or the other. I think it would just be one or the other. I'm gonna let it go a sec. Yeah, I mean, it's about what I thought. Like, I wouldn't expect that many retail players to watch me all the time. If your like main thing is retail, I wouldn't expect that many retail players to watch me because like I just don't play that much retail, right? I do play like here and there, right? But I don't play that much. Like I played Legion Remix the other week. I did like 2 patches ago, I did the new raid. Obviously on Warworth and launch, I played a ton of retail. Like I do play, but it's just been a little bit. So yeah, like I don't know. I think the comment in Guzu's chats like is maybe they haven't watched my stream in a while. Yeah.
If we were to get a Classic Plus, I hope they make it for the classic MMO enjoyers,
yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Classic MMO enjoyers that like old RPGs, you know? And that's it, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I feel this guy's just trying to instigate. I'm not sure. He's just being annoying. Instead of adding content in the line of classic, it looks like they want way too much quality of life. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like all these like little things here and there is a lot of small things, but a lot of small things add up to a big thing, right? But isn't the idea of Classic Plus to bridge the gap? Maybe to you it is. Not to me. I think to me, a Classic Plus would be work on the original game as it was and add content that makes sense for that version of an MMO. So like maybe work on those zones we never got to see, right? In a classic setting. Maybe do some BGs in the classic setting. Perhaps, you know, do some dungeons and some raids in the classic setting, like they did with Karasan and Sod, or like the Demonfall Canyon, or like some of the raids that we got, right? That's what I would like to see.
Enclave
but that's my opinion. And maybe your idea for Classic Plus is different, but that's why we're having this conversation. Fuck, man. World of Warcraft, dude. God damn it, dude. Personal no, extend the character stats, increase the quest cap to 30. I don't see a big reason for this personally, but yeah, I guess if people would want that, then I don't see anything against it. HD graphic tool toggle. Dude, it's just like this one is a slippery slope, bro. It's a slippery slope, man. But like, I don't know. Yeah, shared mob tags for questing. No, I don't like that. I agree with this. Toggle on off XP.
For like twinks.
Oh, so you can like make twinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a big harm in this personally. If people would want that, I don't see a big harm in it.
Yeah, I don't think there's much downside.
But there is also like something kind of cool about having to like make sure you don't ding on your character and shit. I don't know, if you like twinking. Shared mob drops for questing? No. Let people compete, man. Let people compete for that shit. Focus targeting? No, I don't think so either. Remove 1% miss when hit capped. No, don't do that. I agree. Nameplate range 40 versus 20. So increased nameplate range.
That's it. I'm curious what he says here.
I wouldn't hate if they did this, but I don't see a big reason. I don't know. Jewel crafting, rings, amulets. This could be cool if done well. Yes, this could be cool,
but yes there.
Would make sense, right? Yeah, I could see the nameplate range or something like that. Horizontal gear progression. Yes, if done well. I don't know how they would do this, but like make gear that work in certain ways with like resistances or certain spell effects or maybe certain like...
I mean, they did this in Sod already to some success, and like you could make the real argument that Classic WoW already has horizontal gear prog because there's items in Molten Core that you go back to get even when you're in Naxxramas. There's items in BWL that you go back to get even when you're in Naxxramas. Right, so like you can already kind of make the argument. There's items in AQ40 you want even when you're in Nax, right? Like there's I don't know about Zichi, but Zichi's more of a catch-up raid. So there's real reasons to do all the raids already. So Classic WoW's already kind of horizontal, but not completely horizontal, right?
Like set bonuses, this could work. Yeah, this could definitely work, but that would be very hard to make it work in Classic. Usmari says, Guzu, you know old school RuneScape had a ton of quality of life updates to make the game it is today. You're gatekeeping very hard. I don't think I'm
Guzu! Hey, Guzu, you're in the chat. How's it going, man? Guzu, I wanted to clarify a couple of things. One, I've agreed with nearly everything you've said in the video. It sounds like you're kind of a fundamentalist like myself, meaning don't do much and then slowly kind of see what the community wants and build a beautiful thing over time. The second thing I wanted to mention is these are not my opinions. These are my chat's opinions. So there's actually quite a few things that I've disagreed with. And like the arena, the DRs, the combat add-ons, maybe a couple of other things. So anyway, this is my chat's opinions. I had them vote before giving my opinions. Call Guzu. Yo, Guzu, if you're free, you're probably busy, but if you're free, I would love to chat at some point. But yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that these are not my opinions. Having said that, I agree like generally with most of them. I've agreed with nearly everything you've said besides the longer buffs. I disagreed with your longer buff point. I think longer buffs are nice, mainly for paladins. But yeah, I agree. I'm really shaky on the arenas. I'm really shaky on the DRs. Like, yeah, it's like...
Gatekeeping, bro. I'm being very clear with like my idea of a classic might be very different from maybe a lot of people in Xaryu's community and maybe a lot of people watching right now. But I'm just sharing my thoughts with what I think, and then you can share your thoughts with what you think, and perhaps what you think about some of these things. I don't know if you tell me or leave a comment or in the chat. Maybe people will agree with you, and then we'll see like, okay, this is what most people would want, and that's the road people want to go with, and that's fine. It's just we're talking about the thoughts, right? That's pretty much it. I just think it's a bit of a slippery slope with all these quality of life. I do think some quality of life could be great, but I do think it's a slippery slope of like adding so many different things to make everything a lot easier. Because at the end of the day, Classic WoW is an RPG, and a lot of these things that people want removed with quality of life stuff is RPG elements to the game, and I think that's what makes it what it is.
That's fair,
you know?
Yeah, totally fair.
Regardless. Yeah, glyphs. No, I don't think we need. I don't personally. No, I don't know. I mean, it could make sense if there's glyphs, but no, I guess not. Enchanting vellums. No, I kind of like that enchanters have a value that, like, you know, you're an enchanter and stuff. I think that's cool. This is a poll from Xaryu's chat that he did. Keep combos on target, swap druids. Yeah, do not make combo points global. That would make rogues the most OP class in the whole game. Dungeon raids, maps add.
This one, it was on me. I worded this poorly. This one, I almost should have removed from the poll. So there's two different ways. Like, if you have combo points global, like Guzu's talking about, I agree. That's bad. Very bad. Right? It'd be crazy OP. Ampy said the same thing. Right? Like, you could get 5 combo points as a rogue in stealth, come up and one-shot someone. What I kind of more meant with the poll is when you swap targets, you drop all your combo points. Right? Like, if you're a rogue and you have 5 combo points and you click on another target, you don't use your combo points. You just click on another, it'll drop. But this, I worded this very poorly. Accidentally click off and lose them. Yeah, I confused my whole chat with this question. I should have just removed it.
Yeah, I can see that. That's pretty. Yeah, I would like that. That would be nice. PvP shrink in 2 minutes? No, that's too crazy. That's way too OP.
So my take on the PvP trinket 2 minutes is, if you add arenas, you probably need the 2-minute trinket. If you don't add arenas, the longer one is fine. It's like, for me, though, a lot of these are linked. Modernized DRs is linked with arenas, which is linked with heartbeat, which is linked with PvP trinket. All 4 of these are like all in the same. If you add arenas, you do want modern DRs, you want to remove heartbeat, and you want the 2-minute trinket. That's why I think you should not add arenas, because changing all this stuff changes the game too much, hurts world PvP, hurts the dueling, hurts how battlegrounds function and operate in Classic. That's why I've been against arenas, and everyone's like, oh, Xaryu against arenas? Like, what? And I'm like, yeah, because you have to change too much to make them work. So it's not worth it. Instead, I want the fight pit, where you can duel someone with a crowd around you. That would be just better. You don't have to change DRs, you don't have to change heartbeat, you don't have to change the trinket, you keep everything fundamental, but you have this cool way to duel people. Yeah, so I've said this many times, but I don't think arenas are good because you have to change way too much to make them work, right?
Offhand hit chance rework. It's 5 minutes currently, Chilinski. I miss Classic, but they would have to make it very enticing for me to come back. I'm tired of all the same disappointment. That's fair. This isn't RuneScape. You have very good eyes, Evan Gates. We're talking a little bit about this, and we're gonna get into RuneScape afterwards.
Bro, Guzu, you have the same chat as me, bro. When I was playing, dude, it's the same thing, bro. Every time I play a new game, it's just like people malding that it's not the, you know. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Offhand hit chance rework. I don't know if they need to rework the hit chance for the offhand, but maybe. Collections tab. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Being able to see what you've collected and what kind of like pets and mounts and stuff, I think this could be cool. Yeah, why not? I don't see a big reason not for that, but yeah. As long as there's not like giga rewards and shit in that way, but yeah. Nothing that's like super insane, but yeah, why not? Why is it windy where you live? Because there's wind outside. War mode instead of PvP servers? PvE servers is essentially war mode. It is. A PvE server is a war mode server. You know, so we have those. That's it, right? Hearthstone cooldown to 30 minutes. I like having...
I think the idea of war mode is being able to basically toggle on and off. If you felt like PvPing, you could have it on. If you didn't feel like it, you could have it off, right? But I don't know. I talked about this too when I was live. Like, war mode, like if you're on a PvP server, the auto opt-in and things like Blackrock Mountain are like what makes it so epic. The fact that you can't opt out and you're getting to a raid and someone else kills you is like part of that world PvP experience. Like it or not, that's kind of how it works. If you don't like that experience, then roll a PvE server. I don't know. War mode is kind of like trying to get the best of both worlds. Like, okay, I'll PvP when I want, but if I want to go to a raid, I'll PvE. But then that kind of ruins the whole, like, you know, wiping people on their way to raid kind of thing, which is like a lot of classic WoW PvP. That's the appeal. So yeah.
It being an hour personally, but that's my old brain. Leveling challenges. Yeah, some new content for leveling would be great. Some sort of like challenge for leveling, maybe like some sort of like little solo thing you could do or something like that. Depends on how they do it, but yeah, I could see this. It could be great. Built-in questy, I mean, could work. I don't see, it's not like a big high list for me for them to work on, because we...
Towards the end of the list, I think the questions were worse because we were kind of stretching, like we talked for 3.5 hours, so we were kind of stretching like what are more things, but like most of the big questions are early on, I'd say.
Add-ons, right? But yeah, I guess when they say combo swap, it means that the tap targeting, you remain the combo points. People agree with that. Isn't that OP for them? Yes, they shouldn't add that. If they added combo swapping, it will make rogues and druids the most OP class in the game. Because I could just build up 5 combo points on a mob and then swap to another target, have an instant 5-point eviscerate or 5-point kidney, right?
Right, exactly.
Quagon says, where's Quagon? You could have a quest line to lower Hearthstone CD to 30 minutes. Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't hate it.
That's a good comment from Guzu's chat. If you do make changes, make them in a way that respects Classic. It's not just, oh, my Hearthstone is now 30 minutes. It's, if you did a change like that, I'm not saying you should, but if you did, it's, okay, at level 60, you unlock a quest to get a quest chain to then make your Hearthstone a lower cooldown, right? It respects tradition, but still builds upon it in a way that is true to the Classic game, right? Like, I think that's actually a pretty intelligent comment there.
They did it, but it's not a big contention for me, right?
You have to earn it.
More quests in existing zones. This I would love. This is one of the things I would love. Like more quests, more content, more stuff like that, right? Rather than trying to work on like all the core fundamentals. More quests in existing zones, yes. Reworked itemization for existing items. Yeah, as long as it doesn't become too meta, right? Because I kind of like that there's some wonky items that you can do random shit with, right? Don't make them global for combo points. Just give them the ability to actually click off their target and not lose them. Yeah, I could agree with that, because that is kind of annoying. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, yeah, so.
Entirely new specs. I don't think we need this.
Yeah,
What do you mean you're testing out Final Fantasy endgame later? That's what I'm doing. We're having a little Final Fantasy sponsor later. We're going to be checking out some Final Fantasy max level content together with the Preach and a few other people. More class-specific quests added. This would be cool. More quests, more content. That would be great. Modern auction house. I mean, I don't see a reason not to add it. That's fine. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Having an easier auction house would be great. That'd be cool. Solo challenges like Mage Tower. This would be really fun. An example of this is I did the Warrior Challenge in Season of Discovery, where you could do that thing on the tower in Silithus. That was so fun.
That was sick.
Oh my god, this would be huge content.
Yeah, that was sick.
Solo challenges and shit like that would be great. Account-wide attunements. I'm
curious what he says here.
I don't know. I don't think you need it personally, but I wouldn't be angry if they added this, because I could see why.
That's how I feel about a lot of these changes. It's like, you don't need it, but I wouldn't be like pissed if you added it. But you don't need it. And I think if there's something like that, like, you should probably default to tradition and not do it. But yeah.
People would want it, honestly, because it is kind of like tedious to do Onyxia attunements on 5 accounts, or like 5 characters, right? So wouldn't hate it, but I don't think, I think people make the attunements out to be way worse than they actually are. Challenges, events around the world would be great. Dual area with CD reduction, this would be great. I would much rather see this than arena, but that's my class.
Bro, Guzu and I agree on literally everything. This is crazy. Yes, I agree. The dual area with a cooldown reset button, like make a Gurubashi arena or whatever, over arenas. I completely agree. I think if you want arenas over that, then like, I don't know, there's other places to get it. Go play MOP or retail or whatever. I think that would be infinitely cooler. And then you don't do arenas, you don't modernize DRs, you don't remove Harpy, and you don't do the PvP trinket, but you do have a dual area with a cooldown reset button. Interestingly enough, if you look at the statistics, 81% of people want the dual area, 69, 78, and 75% want arenas. So there is more people that want the dual area than arenas. I'm just saying. No arenas with a dual area. I think that's the right move.
About brain talking, right? Integrate professions further into raiding. This could be cool. Mage table plus Warlock Soulwell. I mean, I wouldn't hate this if they added this, but yeah. But yeah, that's the poll chat. Cool. This was a lot of different topics. Obviously, we could cover them a lot more in depth, but I just wanted to go over them a little bit and share my overall thoughts with this. Let me know what you guys think, which ones you agree with, which ones you don't, and have a little conversation about this. For me, it's a lot more. I would love them to see a lot more just like working on some new dungeons, some raids, some BGs, some zones, some quests, and don't mess too much with what already works in Classic WoW, because the Classic WoW is generally a really well-rounded game. It's not a perfect game, but that's great. That's okay too, right? But that's my thoughts on it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about it, guys, because I know I'm doing a lot of RuneScape content lately. That's like my big thing, obviously, but WoW is like, it'll always be very close to what I like, and if they ever do Classic...
I respect Guzu a lot for saying this. right? I respect him a lot for saying this because it's really easy to say, screw WoW, I'm going to play RuneScape now. Like, but Guzu's not saying that. He's saying, like, I'm playing RuneScape right now, but I still love WoW, right? That's kind of, when I played RuneScape, that's kind of what I said. Like, I'm going to play RuneScape because RuneScape's great, but, like, I still love WoW, right? Like, I'm never going to hate on WoW, right? Like, it's just, WoW is so sick, man. Like,
Plus, I would love
really
them to see, I would love to see them do it, like, in the spirit of Classic, right? I would love to see that shit. So I'll link it here, guys, and let me know what you guys think, of course, as well. They need to finish the quest lines and zones that left undone back in the day. I very much agree with that. I don't want a perfect game. I want some abrasive content, like flight paths being long, like having to rely on people to summon. That part is fun. I agree, because that's what WoW is. Classic is, right?
You need other people for the ecosystem to work. You can't play alone, right? You need to rely on others. Right, which is very different than RuneScape, by the way. Like in RuneScape, a lot of RuneScape's a solo game. In WoW, a lot of the game is I need a tank for this dungeon, or I can't do it. I need a healer, or I can't do it. Like, you know, like you really need others, but it makes the game into a social experience, right? And one of the things I talked to Jimmy about, who's a RuneScape content creator, is that like this was my final takeaway from RuneScape. There's so much to be learned from RuneScape, but at the end of the day, RuneScape and WoW are different games. It's not a one-to-one crossover. You can learn from each other, but they're not the same game. Like fundamentally, they are different games. So there's some things that are great in RuneScape that should stay in RuneScape. And there's some things that are great in WoW that should stay in WoW. And they don't have to become the same game, right? Even though you can learn and take inspiration, keeping them, like understanding that there are fundamental differences as well. And that took me a while to like figure out. Yeah,
it needs rewarding solo content. I would love to see some Mage Tower stuff, some challenges and stuff like that. But in the spirit of Classic, right?
There it is, guys. Guzu video. I think I agreed on almost every point. I think the longer buff one was the biggest one that I disagreed with Guzu. But I think besides that, Guzu and I seem to be on the same page where we're like, fundamentalists, right? Change almost nothing, and then over time see where the community's at and get to that final version that's going to be really cool over the course of many years, versus let's change too much, kind of like SOD. Let's change too much and then it doesn't feel like Classic anymore, right? So yeah, I would say that's like the fundamentalist Classic Plus approach. There we go.